Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between two brand new iPhones, the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro. Now, both these phones just came out, and what's very interesting is I've been talking a lot about the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 in both of their videos because I'm like, the iPhone 12 costs $829 brand new, the iPhone 12 Pro costs $999 brand new. So there's only like $100 something difference between these two phones. And I've been saying for a while, if you're getting the iPhone 12, you might as well just go and grab the iPhone 12 Pro, in my opinion. Now, I'll go ahead and talk about everything, and pretty much outside. First of all, if you want to pick up any of these, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can see pretty much exactly the same type of size difference. There's not a big difference, but the size in the side there's a little bit different. So you can see that the side on the iPhone 12 is a little bit like just aluminum, like what the iPhone 11 was. The iPhone 12 Pro has that little custom side there with the reflection, which is really cool. Now, both of them have 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panels on the front, and I honestly can't tell the difference. I was going to, hold one and then hold the other and talk about it, but honestly, these two are almost exactly the same panels, and I wouldn't go from one phone to the other just based off the panel. I have heard in some cases that the brightness on the iPhone 12 Pro is a little bit higher, so you can actually go and increase the brightness a little bit more, and I demonstrated that on my second channel, and I can see it in real life, but it's so not a big issue that you can't even see it that much over the video. And that video that I talked about in that specific context, you can't even really tell. So I'll probably tell you that if you have the iPhone 12 or the 12 Pro, they're almost identically the same panels for sure. They have the same notch and everything like that. It's just the 12 Pro can get a little bit brighter at the end of the day. Now, in terms of the thickness, as stated before, almost exactly the same thickness. There's not a difference at all, but you can start to see the biggest difference. This is the white version, this is the gold version for the 12 Pro, and you can see just the reflection that is, visible on the iPhone 12 Pro. I think it's really cool, and I actually do kind of like that, but again, it's not really that big of a difference, and I really wouldn't go from one phone to the other just because of the side, and I actually do kind of like, both of them are the same, it's not a big deal. And on the back, you can kind of see some more differences. You have the frosted back on the 12 Pro, which isn't as frosted as the last generations, but the iPhone 12 does have that standard glass back, so you can kind of pick whichever one you want. You have a triple camera setup with the LiDAR sensor on the 12 Pro and a dual camera setup on the iPhone 12. Again, not a major big difference. If you like one, go for it. But between these two, they both kind of feel the same in the hand. And if you're going from one to the other, I really wouldn't see a big difference in terms of the body. You are getting twice the amount of storage in terms of the base models for the 12 Pro over the 12, 64 gigs here, 128 gigs there. So that's another big difference. But other than that, pretty much the same thing. Wireless charging on both, MagSafe capability, IP certification on both, but the IP certification on the 12 Pro is said to be better than the 12, but they're probably the same. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. Now, software-wise, this is extremely easy. Both of them have that A14 chip inside of it, and it's going to be lasting for the same amount of years. So the really good thing is if you want to save an extra couple $100 or just $100 and whatever, $71 and get the iPhone 12, you can actually, get the same amount of software updates as something like an iPhone 12 Pro Max. But you can also save even more money and get an iPhone 12 mini and get the same amount of software updates. Or you can save even more money and probably get like an iPhone 11 that might not last as long as these two, but it's still a really long-lasting phone too. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go ahead and do a speed comparison between these two phones. Now both these phones do have that Apple A14 Bionic chip, but the RAM is a little bit different. You have 4 gigs of RAM on the iPhone 12, we have 6 gigs of RAM on the iPhone 12 Pro. So a little bit of difference right there, but let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, so all the apps are cleared out in the background as you guys can see. So let's load up the App Store, 3, 2, 1. And you can see that, I don't know which one I opened up faster, I kind of looked away for a second, but you guys will be able to tell over the camera. Scrolling speeds, they look almost identical, not a major difference I would say in terms of both of these. So I'll probably give that one a specific tie. Animations are going to be about the same too. And as always, I have a bunch of these third-party apps that we can go and get into. Let's do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And I think the 12 Pro was just a little bit faster, but it was still extremely close. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And again, I think they were very close. I don't know if there was a big difference. Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. Again, extremely close. I don't see a big difference. Bofa, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 actually opened that one up faster. The iPhone 12 Pro, a little bit behind. Again, the 12 Pro is on the right. The 12 is on the left. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. I just realized how similar they look in terms of the overall. And I think the 12 Pro is slightly ahead, but that little bit of a difference, I don't think it would have been because of, I mean, it was probably just random difference. In terms of this, they kind of look the same in terms of gameplay. Let's do Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And I think the 12 Pro was a little bit faster there, just slight differences, not a major difference at all. In terms of gameplay, almost identically the same as well. I would do original Temple Run, I've had issues with it. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And in this case, we're probably going to run into issues on both devices, I guess not. So we do have the updated version on the iPhone 12 here. So it's a little bit tough. I have not gotten the update here yet, which is very weird. So I guess we'll let that one slide. Paper out 2, 3, 2, 1. And again, 12 Pro slightly faster, very subtle differences. So far, I haven't really seen maybe the 12 Pro is consistently faster, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. Like it's almost like hand in hand, like neck and neck. Gameplay wise, they're both about the same there. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And actually, the iPhone 12 might have been a little bit faster. And again, these are such small differences that it's like, so it's not even worth. Okay, so I think the iPhone 12 was a little faster, but again, such slight differences is not even worth mentioning for the most part. Gameplay wise, this is a very basic game. There's not even any point talking about it. They're both going to be perfectly fine. Let's do Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And I'm not really too sure there's going to be a big winner. And I've heard a lot of people say the iPhone 12 may actually be a better performing phone because of the panel, but I don't even see how that would make any sense because this is not a low resolution panel. It's the same resolution, but this one was actually faster on the iPhone 12. I don't really get that. That was honestly very weird. And things like that I will never understand with this whole entire iPhone setup. We can do stack, 3, 2, 1. And almost identically the same. Like these ones were like almost exactly the same. And gameplay wise, I think they're going to be about the same as well. There's not really going to be a major difference. And I think that really covers up a majority of the apps that I wanted to test. And honestly, I'm even more like content with both of them. I mean, both of these did a really good job. One of them wasn't consistently the winner, but we're already seeing that the RAM management on the iPhone 12 Pro is already a little bit better with even with the first app. Let's see this one. Again, the 12 Pro is able to keep those apps in the background. The iPhone 12 is going to restart. And this is probably one of the bigger differences so far. Speed-wise, they both open the apps pretty much exactly the same. But RAM management-wise, the iPhone 12 is actually doing a worse job, and that's something I don't like seeing on the 12, but it's pretty much a visible difference. RAM management will be better on the iPhone 12 Pro, so if you're constantly multitasking out of these many apps, at least these big ones, you're going to be getting a better experience on the iPhone 12 Pro. You see how it isn't like, restarting every single app? That is a huge thing. That's probably the biggest thing within the speed comparison is the RAM management section. Both of these were able to be kept in the background, but almost every single app the iPhone 12 actually restarted. The iPhone 12 Pro was able to keep that in the background. So in terms of the RAM management, I would probably have to give the edge to the iPhone 12 Pro and probably the overall speed to the 12 Pro, but I still think the iPhone 12 is an extremely good phone, and if you're not multitasking out of a bunch of apps, it's probably good enough for you too. So in terms of speed, that pretty much covers it up. Let's go and hit on the cameras. Honestly, I don't really want to hit on the cameras for like 50 minutes, but I'll go and quickly briefly talk on them because they're almost the same. Triple camera setup on the 12 Pro. 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel telephoto lens with a LiDAR sensor. The iPhone 12 has that 12 megapixel wide angle lens with that 12 megapixel ultra wide. And with the UIs and everything, you can see they're probably going to be identically the same. Not a major difference at all. Both have portrait mode, both can do 4K at 60 on the back camera. Front cameras are same, 4K at 60 on that too. So definitely some really huge assets here. There's not one that's necessarily the winning one every single time, which I think is probably a better thing than not. And in reality, the iPhone 12's camera is still going to be beautiful. There's going to be so many things you can do with it, and I don't really have an issue with it. I think this is a tremendous camera, but probably the 12 Pro is probably the better one. That's a given. When you look at a phone like the iPhone 12 Pro, you can see that it has a lot of capability. You have portrait mode, you have all these things that the 12 has, but you're just getting that additional LiDAR sensor with that telephoto lens. So if you're somebody who likes to zoom in a lot, basically the best way I can put it is the iPhone 12 Pro can do everything the iPhone 12 can. It's just you're getting that LiDAR sensor and the telephoto lens too. So there's no point in spending 50 minutes talking about it. You're getting an overall better camera setup on the iPhone 12 Pro, but the iPhone 12 is still a tremendous camera in my opinion for sure. And it can do like at least 80% of what the 12 Pro can do, the iPhone 12 could do, but the quality of videos and everything is going to be exactly the same. Now, ending it off with the battery life, I saw surprisingly that the iPhone 12 actually had a little bit better battery life than the iPhone 12 Pro, which is very weird because you're spending more money on the 12 Pro, but you're not necessarily getting better battery life. So that was something that was very weird. I don't know what to make of it. It is what it is, but that was something that I saw and was something that really weirded me out. So battery life, in my opinion, for my test, the 12 is probably the winner. Now, to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the 12 Pro? Should you pick up the iPhone 12? If the price difference wasn't so close, I would probably recommend more people to pick up the iPhone 12. Last year when the 11 came out, I was recommending that phone like crazy. I saw that the 11 Pro was like a good phone, the 11 Pro Max was great, but the 11 at that time was such a good phone for the quality. And in this case, there's just too much of a price. And then but there was a bigger price gap at that point. There was a $699 to $999, $300 difference. In this case, it's a less than $200. And I would probably tell people if you're getting an iPhone 12, I would just recommend getting an iPhone 12 Pro. And if you're somebody who doesn't even need to, use all the specifications of either one of these phones, if you don't need the most amount of power, the greatest cameras in the world, which honestly, I don't even think these cameras are the best. I think the Galaxy S20 probably took the cake there. But if you aren't somebody who's like, needing this specific phone or you don't care about the body that much, I think getting an iPhone 11 is also a really, really good thing too. That phone is costing $599 right now, and that is a really competitive price. That is a price point that a lot of people can afford. And if you're trying to decide between one of these phones, obviously get the 12 Pro. But if you're trying to save a little bit of money, which I think some people may, getting an iPhone 11 is still a really good deal. If you're coming from like an iPhone 6s or an iPhone 5s or something, going up to even an iPhone 10R is not a bad idea either. An iPhone 10R still has a lot of capability. It can do pretty much everything these phones can do. It's a little bit of a different design, but it's still pretty much the same on the front. It doesn't have the flat sides, but it's still extremely good. And that is a super crazy update too. Going from like an iPhone 6s to an iPhone 10R, that is a huge upgrade. So you can't really go wrong with either one. But I'd probably tell you if you have currently an older iPhone, like an iPhone 5s, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, 6s, going to an iPhone 10R is really good. But if it's between these two, my opinion, the 12 Pro has been really good to me. I've been using it as a main phone. But the iPhone 12 is really, really good too. The 12 Pro was a 10 out of 10. The iPhone 12 is probably like a 9.32 out of 10. It's just missing that extra camera sensor, and the RAM just isn't as good as the 12 Pro, which was surprising to me that it was that visible. But other than that, both are almost exactly the same phones for the most part. So that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it means so much for you guys to hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything else. I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.